Godzilla kind of goes way back for me to like, what was it, 98 when the American version came out? I think that was the first American version. I don't know. But I was like 6, and my mom took me and my sister to see that movie. And it's funny because I remember my mom had her purse like on the ground next to her seat, and someone behind us like threw up, like got sick like a kid or something, and threw up in the floor. And the floors like are sloped, and it rolled under my mom's chair onto her purse. It was disgusting. So I have like a very distinct memory of Godzilla in that way. But that's not the reason why I painted this, but I've kind of always been fascinated by Godzilla and King Kong, very giant beings, I guess. So I kind of got this idea to do a series, not sure that I ever will, but a series of giants. And so I guess this would be the first one if I do ever decide to make it a series. So a lot to go. Sheesh. Man, this one's mine, right? It's actually kind of a hard question. There's so many. I think my favorite all time is Picasso, which I know that's like cliche or whatever, but I really don't care. Like, I mean, I love legendary shit, and Picasso is definitely legendary. Like, I mean, if you Google the word artist, like Picasso pops up. I mean, so I think that's part of the reason why is because he's so legendary. So when I first started like learning art history and learning about art, I was eager to learn about him just because I kind of already knew his name. And once I actually started like learning what he did and all his style and everything and how he created cubism and collage, it like just blew me away. And I've been a fan ever since, like a legit fan ever since. But living artist, probably George Condo. He's also cubist, but yeah, I mean, there's just so many. I mean, and it's not just cubist artists. I also like Murakami. Jalil Nzinga is one that most people probably never heard of, but I freaking love his work, and it's nothing like what I like usually, and obsessed with his work. My biggest influence, his name is Malik Roberts. I actually own a piece of his, the Porky Cop. He's my biggest influence, I would say. Also, like Nathaniel Mary Quinn is another one. Recently, I've come across Deborah Roberts, Lynthia Edwards. I found Malik's work back in like 2015, I think, which was right when I started to. I was a year away from graduating college, art school, and I'd started to realize like I want to make collage type cubist work. But anytime I would make something like that in that fashion, usually I would have a professor tell me, get away from that, that's old stuff, like don't do that. So the work I was making in school was different from the work I would make at home or like what I wanted to make. And around that time I took a photography class, learned Photoshop, which taught me digital collage. And at the same time, I'm seeing Malik Roberts' work on Instagram and going, this dude's making the shit that I want to make, basically, right? Well, the shit that I am making digitally, and eventually I graduate, a year later or so, I've been making digital work. I've been making small cubist-like collage paintings here and there. It started with a series of rappers. I called it Hip Hop in Black and White, and it was all rappers in just black and white, very small little 8x10s. Once I moved off to New Orleans to start grad school, that's when I kind of had more freedom, I guess. And so I really started to dive into digital collage and transferring that to a canvas. And eventually it just morphed into like what I'm doing now, which is no collage at all except for the digital aspect. And now it's just all paint. This one's actually my first 100% oil painting in like years. I don't know the last time I did just oil paint. Well, there's pastel too, but like all oil. Usually I'm mixing like pencil and charcoal everything I can find, acrylic, whatever, spray paint. I think what I love the most is drawing, just pencil and paper. Just the way it looks, how quickly I can do it, and how naturally it comes to just take my finger and smudge it here and draw a little harder there and draw a little lighter here and take the eraser. Like, just the pencil and the paper is like the best thing ever to me. So anytime I can, I usually do graphite on canvas, but it just eats up the graphite so much. I end up using so much of it, and it's very strenuous, I guess, on my arm, you know, and wrist. I mean, if you can imagine, like back in grade school when you're writing a lot and your hand gets all tired, it's like that, but like times 10. But after doing this one, I've come to realize how much I actually do love oil. It's so forgiving, and I don't know. I think I do pretty well with it. So. '80s, for sure. '80s. That's when Keith Haring was doing his thing. Basquiat, Andy Warhol. All of them I love so much. Just got a Keith Haring tattoo. And there was like this boom in New York City, and those three guys were like, you know, the head of it, basically. And all styles so different, and that's when there was kind of like a new boom of just pop art and neo-expressionism and street art. All of it just kind of boomed. So I would definitely, plus the parties and all that, like I've seen videos and documentaries and interviews of all of them, and it's just always just an art party. It was like crazy, so I would probably say '80s. Probably my most recent self-portrait. It's my profile picture on Instagram. I think, usually, at least for me, I feel like it's probably for most artists, when you do a self-portrait, it's so self-reflective, I guess. It's like because nobody knows me better than I do, I guess. And so when I'm making a self-portrait, I just feel like I can do anything and everything I want because it's me and nobody can say shit about it. And yeah, with that one, I don't know what happened, but something just struck a chord in me to like start this new three-dimensional, like this is like totally 2D flat. And something just told me to start making these, turn this into 3D, and the way I did that one is just like, I don't know how it happened, but the chrome sphere in the eye with like my reflection taking a photo in it, and like the way the paintbrush is holding up my other eye, and the camouflage on the shirt, the chip on the shoulder, the grasshopper, which like represents a leap of faith, because that was like right when I started to try to do art full time. So yeah, that, my curly hair, shit like that.